Watch and burn.
Hey everyone, so tonight, yeah, it's 20 to 10. So tonight, I want to discuss a little known film from 1978 starring Carol Kane and Lee Grant called The Mafu Cage. It was also sold under the title of, I believe, Don't Ring the Doorbell. And then the tagline suggested that one of these women kill a lot of men, which, I mean, a guy dies, Sissy, Carol Kane's character, kills him, but that's not really the focus of the movie. But anyways, yeah, this movie stars Carol Kane, Lee Grant. They play two sisters, and these sisters are Sissy and Ellen. Carol Kane's character, Carol Kane, who, by the way, too, she did the episode of Seinfeld where she was the chick that got hit in the head with Elaine's electronic organizer once Testikov, the Russian writer, threw it out of the limo because the noise was driving him crazy. The chick that he hits with it, that's Carol Kane. Anyways, yeah, so Carol Kane plays Sissy and Lee Grant plays Ellen. And now Ellen is the more stable of the two. She works, I believe she's an astronomer or some shit. She works at an observatory. And Sissy doesn't work at all because Sissy is so mentally ill. She is so disturbed that the entire plot of this movie can be summed up in pretty much a couple sentences. Sissy is obsessed with Mafu's various primates that Ellen and their uncle Zom supply for her, like one's an orangutan, one's a chimp, one's a monkey, and on and on and on. And Sissy is so unbalanced that she's not cut out for, like, you know, pet ownership, and she ends up beating them all to death. And the whole time, Ellen is attempting to sort of go on with her life because her and one of her co-workers are falling in love, but she knows that she can never bring him back to her home because Sissy's there, and Sissy is so clearly far gone. And she never knows, like, if she's bringing somebody back, is she going to be bringing them back to a fucking crime scene where Sissy is beating another defenseless animal to death? And now, in the cage in their house where they keep the Mafus, their father, who was this renowned animal expert, he studied them. They lived with some tribe. I can't remember if it was in Africa or if it was South America, where he studied the people there, and he studied their culture and whatnot. And then he got really into the sort of studying of chimpanzees and orangutans and things like that. So he has a cell built into, like, what was essentially, I guess, the living room of this giant mansion that they live in that used to belong to their father. Now, in this sort of cage part of the room, there's a door that's completely boarded up, and it's never addressed. And I have to say, too, that the most disturbing thing about this film is the undercurrent of sexual trauma. And the photos of their father, his eyes are just too piercing. He actually looks a little like Hopper from Stranger Things. But his eyes are just, I don't know, the suggestion that they make between the relationships of the sisters and the relationship they had with their father, there's some sort of disconnect there. There's something that's not quite right. And I think Sissy received, if my guess at the undercurrent of sex abuse, if that's at all accurate, I think Sissy was the focus of it, and I believe the father was the perpetrator. And I think it happened whenever they were overseas or wherever they were in Africa or South America, when they were living with whatever tribe it was. I think that's when the abuse took place or the assault took place, because Sissy, although she's clearly an adult, first off, she acts just like a kid. And she's obsessed with this tribe, wherever they're from. She dresses like them, puts the makeup on, does the markings and everything, and she's always listening to, like, tribal music. And this is more Sissy's house than it is Ellen's house, and everything is, like, signaling to this tribe. Now, I don't know much about the history of sex abuse, but like everybody, I've seen a handful of documentaries, and the one that I remember most of all, is Stevie, about Stephen Dale Fielding. And in that, they bring light to one psychiatrist's report about how, due to the fact that Stevie was molested at age 8, that's when he stopped developing emotionally, which this can then concerned this psychiatrist, because he was worried that Stevie would grow up to molest kids because he would see them as his emotional peers. And that is, again, about the sum total of my knowledge in this area. But it does sort of relate back to this. Like, Sissy's emotional development is so stunted that she is a child. And then, like I said, the way that they play the photos of the father whenever it comes up, and there's this creepy shrine to the dad on this wall, and one of their walls in the living room. And so anyways, so Sissy keeps beating these animals, I mean these primates, to death, and Zom, their uncle, or I don't really know if he's actually their uncle, it's like he just knew their father, he keeps feeding them to her, like he keeps bringing them by, and he knows what she's doing, because once Ellen and Zom have put Sissy to bed, because she kind of had an exciting night she got a new Mafu that night after beating the last one to death. And Zom makes this big deal saying, be good with this one, he's a loner, he was raised by these really sweet people, and blah, blah, blah. And of course, Sissy beats him to death. But so Zom and Ellen go back to have a drink after Sissy's gone to bed. And he says, like, I mean, how many of these things has she killed? She needs help, yada, yada, yada. And I'm thinking to myself, what do you mean, how many of these things? You keep bringing them. Stop bringing them. Now, what usually happens when they attempt to stop bringing Sissy Mafus is she threatens to kill herself, and then she starts like slashing at her wrists and whatnot. So her threats are genuine. But had Zom just said, I wasn't able to source any more Mafus for you, what could she do then, right? And I just don't understand why a man like that, who clearly cares about animals, would be feeding them into a fucking blender the way he has been. So, I don't know. This movie is really disturbing. It's just the content and the way that this movie is framed and the way that it's written, and it's just such an odd story. Now, it is based off an old play from way back, but having not read the play, I think the play's in French anyways, and I don't know if it's ever been translated to English. It says that it has been at the end, the credits of the movie, in order for the director and the screenwriters and whatnot to understand it so they could write this movie. But I don't know. This movie's just fucked. And I gotta say, the last 40 minutes are a little rough as far as the pacing is concerned. Like the first hour, uh-oh, it's raining. So I gotta speed this up. This is a super cool movie, and like I said, the last 40 minutes are a little rocky, and the pacing gets a little odd. But overall, this is one disturbing ride. So if you like this review, like always, don't forget to do something nice for somebody. But I gotta go. It's starting to rain. Have a good night. I just wanted to say thank you for making it through the entire video. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to remind everyone one more time, even though I've probably already done this in the video that you just watched, to please click the like button as well as the subscribe button, because it helps this channel grow. And thank you for hitting like and subscribe, and we will see you guys really soon.